إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شر أنفسنا ومن سيئ أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Praise be to Allah. We seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our bad deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, the one having no partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His slave and His messenger. So, today, and I think most of us really, cannot avoid the fact that there has been a tragedy. And there's numerous tragedies in the world, and particularly at this moment in time, we're talking about New Zealand and what's happening, but there's a lot going on in this world. So not only there's a worldwide anxiety, we also have individual anxieties. We also have issues with our own personal lives sometimes. We have issues with our school and classes. When you guys talk about your engineering formulas, it gives me anxiety, right? These kind of things, right? So when the world's full of anxiety, and sometimes we have difficulties, whether it's on a local basis and whether it's a personal or international, where do you turn to? How do you know what to do? What are you supposed to do for no matter what happens in your life? So it's really an interesting thing because, we have actually a book that's been given to us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in ayah number 2, Surah Yasin. As you remember, if you know my khutbahs from before, I'm always going to give you the citation of where it's coming from, and the khutbah is pretty much going to be the Quran and Hadith, and giving you a story from those, right? In Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, by the Quran, so wal Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Yasin, wal Quran al-Hakim. Surah Yasin, by the Quran, full of wisdom. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a book that is full of wisdom. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, beginning of Surah Baqarah, Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabul la Rayba Fihi. This is the book, in it is guidance, sure. So no matter what is really going on in our lives, I want you to actually turn back to the Quran and say, what does the Quran say about what's happening? No matter what it is. Because in Surah Nahl, in ayah number 1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Tasin, these are verses of the Quran, a book that makes things clear. Makes things clear. It doesn't say it makes engineering clear, or mathematics clear, or politics clear, or psychology clear. It just says it makes things clear. Everything there is, you'll actually find guidance in the Quran. Because in ayah number 9, Surah Al-Isra, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, verily this Quran does guide to that which is most right and stable, and give the glad tidings to the believers who work deeds of righteousness, and that they shall have a magnificent reward. So sometimes you start hearing rhetoric, right? You hear about white supremacists, and then you hear about black power, and then you hear about Latino gangs, then you hear about Arab terrorists, and you hear about the Pakistani buttocks, just on and on. But I want you to keep something in mind. What has happened is, after this, particularly since last Friday, the amount of love that I have received personally, the phone calls, the emails, primarily from my non-Muslim friends, from my Christian friends, my Jewish friends, my Hindu friends, my Sikh friends. Just reaching out and saying, Sana, are you okay? Is your community all right? The love in this world way outweighs the hate in this world. Just that the hate is louder and the love is quieter. There's a lot of love, there's a lot of goodness, a lot of kindness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Imran, ayah number 113, 114, and 115. I'm going to skip out of the Arabic part of it for the sake of time. But it says starting ayah 113, they are not all alike of the people of the book. of the people of the book, we're referring to the Christians and Jews in this case, right? There is a community which is upright, who recite the revelations of Allah in the watches of the night and prostrate themselves. Talking about the people of the book. They believe in Allah and the last day. And for our non-Muslim audience, Allah is God, that's the name of God in Arabic. So they believe in Allah and the last day and enjoin the doing of what is right and forbid the doing of what is wrong. And they hasten towards the good. These are of the righteous. And ayah number 115, and whatever good they do, they shall not be denied its reward. Allah knows those who fear Him. So there are good people in all people. And I think we can see that by the outpouring of goodness and kindness that we've seen. I don't know if you've had a chance to follow what's happening in New Zealand, how the government is reacting to everything there, right? And then Surah An-Nahl, ayah number 125, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching. And wisdom. So instead of getting on each other and fighting and talking about potentially the whichever amount of white supremacists and they exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, right? There are bad people among the Muslims. They exist. We can't deny that. There are people that do bad things. We can't deny that. But for us, those people that are actually adherents of the religion, it says invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching. And even if you argue with them in the ways that are best and most gracious. So even if you're going to have a discussion with somebody, whether it's about religion or whether about politics or whether it's about personal life, it doesn't matter. When you actually have a discussion, when you're even actually having an argument with someone, argue in the best of ways that are most gracious. This is the verses of the Quran. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Isra, ayah number 53, tell my servants to be considerate in their speech. وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. Tell my servants to be considerate in their speech. Surely Shaitan or Satan creates discord among them, and Satan is indeed a manifest enemy to mankind. So there's a war going on. Right? But this war is not about the Muslims against the Jews against the Christians against the Hindus against the Sikhs. That's not really what's happening here. There's a war going on humanity. From the time Adam al-Islam was created to the Day of Judgment. And the enemy is a very common enemy except he's hidden. That's a whole different khutbah and topic in its own right. So turn to the Quran for protection. Turn to the book of Allah. And so Nahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ayah number 98, so when you read the Quran, seek the protection of Allah from Satan, the accursed. The one who is attacking mankind. And ayah number 45, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and when you read the Quran, we cast between you and between those who do not believe in the hereafter a hidden veil. So when you have anxiety, when you're feeling trouble, pick up the book, read from the Quran, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create a protection for you between yourself and those that are evil. Now there are commandments in the Quran as to how to read the Quran. Okay? So in Surah Isra, number 78, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, keep the prayer from the declining of the sun until the darkness of the night, and read the Quran at dawn. So the best time to read the Quran, you could read it at any time, but the best time of reading the Quran is at the dawn, because it says, Inna Quran al-Fajri kana mashhuda. Indeed, the recital of the Quran at dawn is witnessed. So it very specifically talks about reading the Quran in the morning. And then, how much should you read? What should you read? In Surah Muzammil, ayah number 20, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, recite therefore of the Quran that which is easy for you. Don't make it a hardship. Don't make it difficult. If you can easily read a little bit, read a little bit. If you can read more, read more. But whatever is easy for you, don't make it into something stressful. Surah Muzammil, ayah number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, or a little more and recite the Quran in slow, measured, rhythmic tones. So read it as easy for you as possible, but read it with the way that it's supposed to be read. Right? Slowly, in rhythmic tones with qira. And do not hasten in reading the Quran. Ayah number 16, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not move your tongue with it, the Quran, in order to hasten the retention. So sometimes, especially Ramadan is coming up in a couple of months. I don't know if you've ever been to the masjid, and I know Desi imams sometimes tend to read, because they want to finish the Quran in the month of Ramadan. They are like on a high-speed train, right? So, alhamdulillah, I mean, you can't even breathe. Okay? So I'm always of the opinion that it's okay. You don't have to finish the Quran necessarily in Ramadan, in Tarawih. If you do, great. But if you don't, it's okay. But read it the way Allah is telling us to read it, right? With calmness, with ease, with depth of understanding. Do not hasten. Read with tajweed. Ayah number 121, Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those to whom we have given the book and who recite it with true recitation. Right? It is they who believe in it, with its true recitation. So, if you don't pronounce the Arabic properly, it's okay, but work on it. Right? Because there's a big difference, I'll give you an example, between saying the word parking versus the word barking. Right? You could say parking, or you could say barking, just one letter, potentially different, but it's completely different meaning. So similarly, with the Quran, we want to make sure that we're reading the words properly, because for most of the Muslims in this world, 90% or so plus, it's not our natural language. So we tend to add our own, dialects to our own ways of pronouncing things. It's very important to learn how to read it properly. And the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats over and over again in Surah Al-Qamar that it is easy to understand and remember. Okay? So in ayah number 17, ayah number 32, ayah 22, 32, 40, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Quran, but we have indeed made the Quran easy to understand and remember. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. But we have indeed made the Quran easy to understand and remember. Then is there anyone who will receive the admonition? But here's the interesting thing also, right? In Surah Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks this question. So like I've already told you, you should read as much that's easy for you. Read with correct pronunciation. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do they not ponder on the Quran? So when you read the Quran, reflect on it. Reflect on what is it that Allah is telling us in the passage that He's giving. And wallahi, I tell you, it's amazing to me because, I read the Quran, alhamdulillah, as much as possible, pretty much every day. And I run into things, I'm like, wait, I've read this book 100 times, but there's always something new coming out of it. But actually what's interesting is, there's nothing really new coming out of it, it's just that I'm evolving with age and time and experience. So it speaks to me in different ways. The same ayah speaks to me in something that I now, at age now 53, I look at it and like, wow, I don't remember reading this. But I have read it before, for sure. But then when I read it when I was age 43, it was different. When I read it at 53, it was different. When I was reading it a month ago, it's really amazing. Given my circumstances, how the book actually speaks to me. So it's very, very important that we understand how to utilize this book. And I will tell you right now that if you learn to utilize this book, if you learn to read it, when you understand, when you go into the Quran, it'll pull you in. I can promise you that. It will pull you in, and your anxiety, the difficulties you feel, is going to be answered in the book. Somewhere along the way, somewhere in the book, it'll give you the answer to what's going on with you. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. But we have to take the Quran seriously. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tariq, ayah number 13, this is a decisive word, the Quran. This is a decisive word. Ayah number 14, it says, and it is not a joke. We have to take what Allah is telling us seriously. And in Surah Al-Hashr, ayah number 21, this one that says, if we had revealed this Quran to a mountain, you would have seen it oppressed and shattered from the fear of Allah. It is that, and it says, we expound these parables to mankind so that they may give thought as to how heavy, how amazing, how powerful this book is. The Quran has mercy. That's one that it says in Surah Araf number 204, when the Quran is read, listen to it with attention and hold your peace that you may receive mercy. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So that you may receive mercy. Listen to it attentively. Reflect on it. Quran actually has healing and mercy. Ayah number 82 in Surah Isra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we sent down stage by stage in the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. It says, to the unjust it causes nothing but loss. In Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this is really, it really encompasses everything for me in this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. Those who believe and whose hearts find satisfaction in the remembrance of Allah. For without a doubt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for without a doubt in the remembrance of Allah, your hearts find satisfaction. So, when you run into difficulties, when you have problems, when it's personal, whether it's political, whether it's about money, or whether it's about work, whether it's about your parents, or whether it's about your children, whether it's about your boss at work, whether it's about the fact that your health isn't, no matter what it is, the Quran has healing for your heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, without a doubt, without a doubt, in the remembrance of Allah, your hearts find satisfaction. So inshallah, let's take this book seriously, and if you can, on a daily basis, in the morning particularly, just read a few minutes. Just a few minutes, a couple of minutes. Just start from the beginning, so Surah Fatiha, and then just read Surah Fatiha. Read the meaning if you don't know the meaning, and reflect on it. See what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying. And then just continue from there. Maybe you make it into a 5-minute ritual every day. But here's the tricky part of all of this. Okay, I kind of started off that way. But then the book just pulls you in. It becomes your best friend. This is no joke. It will take you in. And then you'll get addicted to it. And then you want to read every single day. And you want to reflect. And it's not about the quantity of reading. It all becomes about the quality of reading. You may just pick up one sentence and you may be reflecting on it all day long. Oh my God. Wow. And it'll speak to you to where you are in life. Because it will constantly be evolving with you. It's unbelievable. I have read a lot of books in my life. Tons and tons of books. Okay? Right? But I've never ever seen any, I've never read anything like this. Okay? So inshallah, when you, and if you can, just take this little piece of advice from this khutbah today and just start reading the Quran a little bit every day. Okay? Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and help us in doing, inshallah, what is right and protect us from the evil. It's wrong. Alhamdulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid.